with the upcoming release of Lightfall, our mods are about to be changed forever. With that knowledge, a lot of our current builds in the game aren't going to perform the way they are right now. So I wanted to start a series leading up to Lightfall where I make a build with every single class and subclass that we currently have in the game. These builds are not going to take advantage of any combat style mods and heavily focus on fragments, exotics, and aspects. Normally, if you use these builds with mods equipped, it is just the cherry on top. And of course, before you start doing anything in Lightfall, you can obviously take a look at the new mod system and try to insert what you think might work. This is just supposed to be a clean slate and give you all an idea of what is some of the strongest stuff in the game right now for each of the classes. If anything changes in the future, I will make an updated video talking about what I think could be better. And like I said, if you're interested in every single class and subclass, be sure to check out the channel and give the series a watch. And this one, I want to go over the Stasis Warlock, one of the best crowd control builds in the entire game. So with this build, you're going to be able to slow and freeze absolutely everything on the battlefield. This can either come from your grenade itself or turning that grenade into a stasis turret to do all the bidding for you. This build is extremely good for in-game content due to the fact that, well, pretty much nothing can shoot you if you are playing around it correctly. Alright, so jumping right into it, I do want to go on and say that this build does require a little bit of effort from combat style mods, but again, we're not using any of these because these are going to be changed in Lightfall. So I did the best I could so you can keep your turrets and grenades spam as much as possible, even without taking advantage of them. And to help compensate for that, I think the first thing we should go over is the Osmiomancy gloves. This has the exotic perk Fervent Cold Snap. Your Cold Snap grenades have an additional charge that recharges quicker on direct impact. The seeker spawn from Cold Snap grenades travels further. So this exotic is pretty simple. You're going to get an additional Cold Snap grenade, and this can be used in two different ways. You can have two stasis turrets at your disposal, or you can actually use this as just freeze the enemies directly with the Cold Snap grenade. What's really cool with this exotic, if you hit a direct impact with the grenade and that grenade falls to the ground, you will get energy not only from that direct impact, but then on top of that, when it freezes the enemy, you will get energy from that as well. And this is going to help you keep a bunch of your grenades up and freeze entire battlefields. I would highly recommend putting stasis turrets down if it's a more prolonged engagement, but for the most part, you can pretty much just use the actual grenade itself and get the job done. Now to help out with that, in our subclass, we're going to be running the aspects Ice Flare Bolts and of course Bleak Watcher. Bleak Watcher is the one that lets you turn your grenade into your stasis turret, and then Ice Flare Bolt says shattering a frozen target spawns seekers that track and freeze other nearby targets. So when you kill your frozen targets, you're now going to have seekers come out that will freeze additional targets, and it's kind of like a chain reaction, a way of just constantly freezing people over and over again. Ice Flare Bolts is really good for adding even more crowd control to what's already really good, and I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Now of course we're going to be running Cold Snap Grenade to play into our exotic, and I like running Healing Rift just for survivability because we're going to be spamming this a lot as well. And for fragments, I run Whisper of Fissures, so increase the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. So this just means now all the targets I'm freezing, they'll just explode a little bit more, they'll do more damage, and it just makes it a little bit better for ad clear once you have everything frozen. Now also I'm running Whisper of Refraction, so defeating slowed or frozen targets grants you class ability energy. Since you're going to be freezing targets all the time, you're going to get your rifts back up a lot, so this is good for your survivability, but this will also play into some of our mods that we'll get into later in the video. Now I'm also running Whisper of Endurance, so slow from your abilities lasts longer. For those abilities that linger, the duration will also increase. So this is going to be really good paired with Bleak Watcher because Bleak Watcher does slow, and this will also make the turret last a little bit longer as well. So overall it has a longer duration and the slow is more effective. Then I like to run Whisper of Rending, so primary ammo weapons do increased damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. This just lets my primary pretty much guarantee a one-shot kill on whatever targets are frozen, which is really nice. Now for stat distribution, I would highly recommend 100 Resilience. It's getting nerfed in Lightfall, but it's still going to be one of the best stats to put your points into, and 100 Discipline, so obviously get your grenade back as much as possible. If you can get up to 100 Recovery, I would definitely recommend going for that as well, and those are pretty much the three main stats you should be focusing around. Now weapons with this build, you see I'm running a something new. If you don't have this, don't worry, pretty much any stasis weapon with demo will work. I just like something new because it is a high impact hand cannon, which pairs really well with Whisper of Rending, so you can always guarantee those one-shot kills if you are landing your headshots. This also does have Wellspring and Demo, so every time I get a kill, if I only am using my grenade charge, I will get a ton of grenade energy back, and it just makes it even easier to spam them. But like I said, if you have any other stasis weapon with Demo on it, that will also work. Now I'm running an Ariana's Vow, which might seem a little interesting, but I just have this equipped just to kind of show off the interactions some of the new stuff will have, and that is the fact that Ariana's Vow does have anti-barrier, and with Lightfall coming out, slow and shattering targets will be able to stun Overload and Unstoppable. So slowed enemies with your Bleak Watcher, it actually now stun Overload champions, and then once they're frozen, if you shatter that frozen target, you will stun the Unstoppable. So with this and Ariana's Vow alone, you can have all 3 champion mods. Obviously, when Lightfall comes out, if there's a artifact mod that is better for a specific champion, these are going to be unlockable perks now. You don't have to run Ariana's Val. I just kind of have that on there so I can show you the interaction and how this is going to be really good for taking champions out. And then finally, I just have a bump in the night equip. We don't know what the current, power weapon heavy meta is going to be. It could be grenade launchers, it could be rockets, it maybe even could be something like Sleeper Simulant or Anarchy. Just be sure to swap this out for whatever you need when going into Lightfall. Now, for mods that we know that are staying, I'm going to be running Harmonic Siphon so we can get rapid weapon final blows with a weapon that matches my subclass type. It will create an orb of power. So this means my something new or whatever stasis weapon in your case will be able to create orbs, which is going to be really good because picking up orbs will get you armor charge, and this will also play into some other mods when we get down towards our boots. Now, I also like to run a Dynamo, so this will reduce my super cooldown when I use my class ability near targets. Since we're going to be able to save class abilities a lot with 90 recovery and Whisper of Refraction, this just means you have a lot of survivability with Healing Rift, and on top of that, you're getting a bunch of super energy back, which is nice if you're ever in a sticky situation. You need to pop your super just to freeze everything and shatter everything. Now, I'm also running a hand cannon loader just to help the reload speed of my hand cannon. Obviously, you can swap this out for whatever you want. Now, I'm also running Bolstering Detonation because this will grant me some class ability energy when I cause damage with a grenade. So just hitting targets with your Cold Snap will give you some energy. What's really cool is that if you have a turret down, every single time the turret shoots, when that cooldown is up on Bolstering Detonation, it will also give you some class ability energy. So you can kind of have your turret giving you energy back, which is really, really cool. Now, always remember to equip your resistant mods when things like Lightfall comes out. These energy diffusion substrates or things similar to it will be unlockable perks. So you definitely want to have these equipped to get even more resistance, and it'll help out a ton with your survivability. Now, I'm also running a recuperation and an innervation. So recuperation will replenish some of my health when I pick up an orb of power. On top of that, innervation will give me some grenade energy when I pick up an orb of power. Since we're making orbs with our hand cannon because of Harmonic Siphon, not only are we getting armor charge, we're also getting health, which is good for survivability, and innervation is good for getting that grenade energy back so you can spam even more stasis turrets if you need them. And then finally, I am running double bomber since we're getting our class ability back with everything playing into the build. This will just give me even more grenade energy back. Not only am I getting super now, I will get grenade energy when I pop that rift, which is really, really nice. So overall, the playstyle of this build is just to spam as many grenades as possible and stasis turrets as possible. You can doing that with things like demo and your stasis weapon. You're getting orbs to proc innervation. On top of that, you get a bunch of class ability energy with things like Whisper of Refraction, which is also going to then play into bomber, and things like dynamo and the bolstering detonation help get that class ability back as well. So you want to spam your rift, your grenades as much as possible. They're going to kind of play into each other, and you can hopefully have the entire battlefield frozen. On top of all of that, while that's going on, you do have access to every single champion in the entire game without having to take a single artifact mod, but obviously you can take whatever you want to when Lightfall does drop. That's pretty much the build. It's really simple to use. All you're doing is, like I said, trying to get as much crowd control out as possible with your grenades, and it's really easy to achieve that. And once we learn the new mod system in Lightfall, it's going to become even easier. It's going to be way better, and I honestly think this build does have a lot of potential once we do learn the new mod system. But as of right now, if you'd like to try this specific build out and take it into Lightfall, we'll have a dim link to it in the description below. And if y'all enjoyed or learn anything new, consider subscribing, dropping a like, and turning those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough, and that every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.